Hi guys, happy Friday Spotlight. We're here with Lesley Brawn. It's pronounced Brawn, right?
Yeah.
Brawn,
Brawny
okay.
paper towels with no.
There we go.
With no
We'll never forget that. So we're here to talk about her business, and she's going to share a little bit about herself and why you started and how long you've lived here. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness, amazing. Well, I am Lesley Brawn with Game Changer Realty, and I live in St. Johns County, but I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Go Patriots!
Born and
Even though they're
raised?
not. Yes. Yes. I was raised there. I was born in New York, but then transitioned to New England at a very young age. And I've been in
What made you come down here?
change of lifestyle.
Okay.
Shoveling 5 feet of snow for
yeah,
3
terrible.
months is not fun after a while. So we came to visit some folks that we know down here. And this was 7 years ago. And thought we would never live in Florida. And then we came back a year later and really loved it and realized, okay, we can actually build a house that we love.
Yeah.
Whereas in Boston, if you want to build or get a house for a growing family, it was really expensive. Obviously things have changed a little bit in the market, so it's not as affordable in this area if you're coming from out of state, but moved down here and swapped snow for sand and Uggs for sandals.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah.
I still have my Uggs though, because I can wear them.
Now, do you go back and visit?
Yes. I try to get back at least twice a year.
Okay.
And I'll be back again in the winter.
So your family's still there?
Yes, I have some family that's still there, but a lot of my family is actually in Florida and up and down the eastern seaboard.
Okay.
So it's nice to be able to have family here, but then go back and see a lot of my friends are still in Boston.
Yeah.
So it's fun to get back, but I'll be back in time for winter.
And your kids, do they miss the snow or do they like it here?
They like it here. My daughter was almost 4 when we moved here. My son was 18 months old, so he doesn't really know.
Yeah, he doesn't remember.
My daughter does remember, but we did take them skiing last winter.
Now, do you ski?
No, my husband skis though.
You skateboard, don't you?
An electric skateboard. I don't.
I think that's very cool.
I do go through neighborhoods on my electric skateboard.
Like, can y'all imagine? I would fall. I would fall in a second. I would fall. I would be on crutches.
Well, I didn't want to do it, but my husband got 2 skateboards and said,
And he does it too?
He does it too.
This is amazing.
He's a nurse, so I figured he knows if he knows how to balance so that we don't break arms and stuff. But we wear our helmets. And we'll tootle around the neighborhood.
You're not scared you're gonna fall off?
Yes, I am, but do things skater, right? You just push.
No,
push
there's nothing that could possibly break a bone.
But no, it's fun. So I'll go through. He'll film me, and I'll be that way. I can focus on balance, and then he'll be behind me.
Okay.
And then
do your kids do it with you?
My son does it a little bit on the low setting.
All right.
Like he doesn't go super fast.
Yeah.
And my daughter just rides her
I
bike.
think that's so funny.
It's fun. If we could all have skateboards, then we would. But no, I don't ski. My husband was, he skied on the college team.
Okay.
And so he's
And where did you two meet?
We met in Boston.
Okay.
We were neighbors.
Oh, really?
We owned condos in the same building. And so I lived in the penthouse.
And what did you do there? Were you a realtor there?
I was not actually, I was in private equity, kind of investor relations. So investments.
Yeah, okay.
Investments. And so I had, when I purchased my properties in Boston, I had pretty much done it. I'd done a lot of it by myself. I had real estate assistants, and it wasn't always at the level I thought it should be. Before we moved to Florida, our real estate experience was probably one of the best I'd ever had. And I had always thought about going into real estate from college, but the corporate machine kind of ate me up and said, hey, they throw things at you, the golden handcuffs. And so the broker that we had worked with in Boston was amazing and really encouraged me to pursue it. And had we stayed in Boston, I would have joined. I would have joined that brokerage. So I started studying for my license in Boston. For Florida before I moved down here, and then it was just a swirl of things, moving to a different part of the country with a toddler and a preschooler, building a house, and golden handcuffs of corporate America saying, please don't leave. But then it got to a point where I was referring out business to other agents who were just like, every time you send us someone, they already know everything, so we have really nothing to do. You've prepped them.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the best real estate experiences. I'm sorry if those folks are watching this right now, but we didn't have the best real estate experiences, not to the level that we wanted, that we had in Boston. And it was really important to me that if I was going to really pursue this, taking all of the corporate experience that I've had, and how do I mesh that with wanting to do right by people and wanting to provide a really high level above and beyond service, then I needed to make sure that I was going to go all in.
Right.
And so it was a little over 3 years ago where I just said, okay, well, we're gonna do this. And did corporate on the side, had companies that I did work with, and then, you know, got to a point where needed to kind of just really be in it 100%. And that's where I am now.
That's great. Now I know that you have a really big heart for first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And guiding them through that. So you want to tell us a little bit about?
Yes. So as I was once a first-time home buyer and really didn't know what to do, you know, had to figure some things out, like where do I get the money from? Where am I going to live? And this was in Boston, so the market was a little bit different. Where, you know, at the time, a 500 square foot condo, and this is back in, you know, 2005, 2007, was about $200,000, like a postage stamp. And, you know, that didn't scare me because that was the norm for people who were looking for new places to live. But, you know, how do I get a mortgage? What does my credit need to look like? All of those things I kind of had to do and learn trial by error. And, you know, had some friends who helped out along the way with information, like, hey, talk to a mortgage broker. You know, do I talk to a mortgage broker, which I didn't even know what that was, or go to a traditional bank. So I am in a place of education because there are so many variables. Yes, there's a lot of information on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, but really what comes down to it is that folks really need to understand when they're looking for their first home, you know, how much can I afford?
Right.
You know, HGTV is amazing, but it's not reality. And, you know, there are people who are struggling with, you know, credit issues, cash flow issues, job security, they're overextended in some ways, and they don't realize how much of that can affect what they can afford. So the biggest thing is I always ask people, who have you talked to, you know, in terms of your affordability? And I don't ask and close-ended questions like, well, do you have a down payment? Because the answer could be yes, but it might be $1,000, right? Because they don't know. And so when I ask these questions, you know, who have you spoken to about your financing? And then the light bulb goes off. Well, I haven't talked to anybody. Okay, great. Well, we need to make sure that you're plugged in, you know, whether you have a relationship at your bank or credit union, or you have a mortgage lender that you've heard of. It's important to have those conversations because you'll understand what your affordability is. If you want, as a first-time home buyer with some financial challenges, and you're looking at a house, you know, online that's pretty, that's $400,000, but really when it comes down to it, your affordability is maybe $250,000, that's a gut punch. And I don't want anyone to go out into the market because really it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time for the consumer, it's a waste of time for the real estate professionals to put the time and energy into, you know, into things that aren't attainable. I don't like to discourage anyone. I want everyone to realize their dream. If that's what you want, and that's what you are, you know, fixed on, then let's figure out the plan and the pathway to get there.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I am not here to dictate what type of home anyone is in. I am here to partner and guide and collaborate to get to where you need to be. And maybe we need to step back a little bit to get you into something sooner. And then we build up a plan to get you in. So it's stepping stones. And then I have first-time home buyers who ironically are high net worth individuals where they have, because of their lifestyle or because of career, that they haven't had to purchase a home. They've either rented homes or, you know, in large cities. I worked with executives who were making 6-7 figures and they didn't own property, they didn't own a home. They rented a condo in the city. So and it's interesting because when I have those folks, you assume that because they have cash flow, that they are not in a place where they know everything. And a lot of times they need as much hand-holding. So the misconception that first-time home buyers are just folks who are just starting out, maybe new jobs or young families or single folks. No, there are also people who, make more money than I do. and so it's important to meet people where they are and still offer that same level of guidance and education.
Right. Now, the market is a little challenging right now. What's the biggest hurdle that you're facing, and how are you tackling that?
Realism, people. Realism. So the market's correcting. So it is challenging because we went through a period of time where, back in the day, where affordability, especially in this area, was great. Anyone who was coming from a different part of the country could come down here and like, oh my gosh, I'm getting such a great deal. And it seemed like it was a lot easier than we had COVID. And then post-pandemic, where we had prices that were steady for a while, and then all of a sudden, everything was out of reach. You couldn't visit a property and have contingencies, and contingencies are basically stipulations that if something doesn't happen, like if you can't get financing or if you don't sell your house, that you can exit a transaction. And that wasn't happening. And people were paying for houses sight unseen. They were coming down with huge down payments. They were waiving all of these contingencies, and that created a lot of demand. So you're seeing your neighbors making 2 times what they paid for their houses and walking away with a ton of money. And then you see people who really needed to make a change, whether it was for lifestyle change, family change, or growth, and they couldn't because the market was just so out of reach. And it was great. And so I applaud folks who were able to capitalize on that market and net a bunch. But what's happening is that we are now in this, and I don't even call it a cool-off period, it's correcting, because the market has a typical trajectory, and we went from here to here, where we should have been here all along, and we are coming back to that place. So it's challenging because you have people who are listing their homes and they want what their neighbor made. They're like, well, my neighbor made double, right? So I want to make double too. That's not realistic. And then it's challenging for sellers in the sense that there's days on market. It's longer because there are more properties to see. So anyone who has a specific budget, there are 100 homes to look at. Whereas 2 years ago, you'd be lucky if you found a handful, but you've got more people looking at them and willing to just throw money at it. So, for me, for personal example, I have a listing that went live in May, and we are just under contract now. And in between that time, and we thought that this listing was going to go super fast. And then in between that, I had a buy and a sell happen right in between. And people aren't really sure what to make of it. And the reality is that it's marketing. You have to make sure that you are marketing your property correctly. And the best form of marketing is price and being really realistic and honest, about, do I really want to sell this house? Or do I want to wait and see? And for buyers, it's challenging because there is so much to see. So the choices are dizzying, but also their money doesn't go as far as it once did. So if they had their eyes set on something, a particular property based on 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and just with interest rates, that it's not really in line for them anymore, it's challenging. But overall, we are in a place where you just have to be realistic about what your needs are, what your spend is, and really surrounding yourself with industry professionals that are guiding you and not just yesing you to death. So.
Now, do you think with the recent storm up in North Carolina and Georgia that we'll see a lot of buyers moving down here?
I think that for folks up that way, it's depending on what their financial situation is, if all their money and all their capital is tied into their properties, I don't think that anyone would be in a position to walk away from it. I think that there's a lot of rehab emotionally and financially that's going to happen over the next, year, 2 years. I think if there is anyone who is fortunate enough to say, you know what, I can be away from this, I can be like somewhere else while the rehab is happening, then yes, but it's hard to say what percentage of that is because there's so much devastation. And I think that people right now are focusing on getting themselves straight, helping their neighbors, and really coming together to make sure that they're not just leaving anyone in a lurch. But I'm sure anyone would love to say, okay, well, I'm gonna pick up, I'm gonna let this fix, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else and just kind of move on with life. But I think it's gonna be really difficult for those folks to be able, even on west coast of Florida. I don't think that, their focus from from friends that I have in the area and from what you either see in news or online, is that people are really focusing on getting their lives back together where they are. So that's a really difficult situation. I can't imagine, everything's gone and you have to battle through insurance and repair and all of those things to live and get back on the daily function, that to kind of pack up what you have and move. I can't imagine how difficult that would be.
Right. So what made you choose Game Changer, really?
Because it's amazing. Anyway, well, for me, it is, I'm so much about education and support, and real estate, as you know, is a fantastic, it's just a fantastic career path when your heart is in it. But I think what happens is that some folks do get caught up in the, I'm gonna sell a house, I'm gonna make money, and then I'm gonna spend it, and it's gonna be amazing. And the market and the industry ebbs and flows. Yeah. And so it was important for me to join a brokerage where education on how to build your business, forget that it's a real estate business, but how to build a business. You have to pay taxes. There are costs, and this is what people don't remember, is that there are costs that are associated with being in real estate, whether it is joining the local boards, whether it's marketing. I mean, you gotta put gas in your car. When you get a listing, you have to, sometimes there are a lot of upfront costs that you have to pay for. And every agent is different on what they spend before they get back, and you don't get paid until you close. So if a deal falls apart 10 minutes before closing, you don't get paid. So the big thing was really understanding how to run a business, and how you figure that out is, what is your unique value proposition? Because how I manage my business and how I market myself and really advocate for my customers is different from other agents. And I have to understand, what's my personality type. Some people love to put fancy wrap on their cars and billboards and throw fancy parties. They might be super extroverted and have a lot of capital to do it. And then some people might like the more grassroots approach, like me. I like to sit down, I want to talk to people, I want them to understand who I am as a person. What is my value? Why am I here? What can I do for you?
I would say you're extroverted.
You think so? Oh, I'm an extroverted introvert. How about
That's
that?
how I am.
And so I love to show up and show where people are. So Game Changer Realty. So Jen Henry is the visionary and CEO behind it, and she, in her career spanning over 20 years. When she was with Keller Williams back in the day, she launched Game Changers.
Oh, okay.
So she launched this initiative to really put agents through, the rigor, right? Like, if you can't show up and really train and understand how your business functions and what you need to do in real estate for your customers and for yourselves, you are not going to make it. And she was pretty hardcore about it. And there are a lot of agents in the Jacksonville market who have gone through her Game Changer program. And she had some health issues. She is a breast cancer survivor, and that opened her eyes to, what do I want to do with my time? And she'd stepped away from real estate and decided, what? I'm going to start something that I know I'm going to cultivate the way that I feel that she feels business should happen in real estate. And so I had met with other brokerages and had an opportunity to interview, because I think that a lot of times agents don't realize that it's not just, it's not just the first place that you walk into. And anyone who's been in the corporate space where, the path is you go, you interview, you're constantly selling yourself for the job. And what needs to happen is that you sell yourself, your authentic self, but then the brokerage has to meet you where you are also. And so I had met with a few different ones, and people who I talked to who had either worked with Jen Henry, gone through her program, or just knew her personally, had said, you really need to give her a shot because she's the real deal, and if that's what you want, and if this is where you're coming from. And so I did, and we met, and it was great. And I have to say that I don't know what my success would look like had I joined another brokerage. And I'm grateful for that. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? There are a ton of great brokerages, and I think it really just depends on who you are as a person and the folks who've got your back, no matter where you are. And I felt like, okay, well, this was the great fit, and we have an amazing leadership team. And we are smaller, we're independent, and we're boutique-y. But it's not, but not like when I say boutique-y, like it's nice because we are constantly leaning on each other to level up, and nobody's left behind, right? My success, I see my success. Yes, it's great because I love to have a career where I can do great things for myself and for my family, but I know that it's pouring into the brokerage because I want other agents to see when you do amazing things and when you do the right thing, we all pour back into the brokerage and we all propel it forward. And so it's been an amazing journey. I'm on year 3 with Game Changer Realty, and I'm just excited to see what's to come.
Awesome. Do you want to add anything else?
Oh my gosh, what do I want to add? Yes, I really believe that no matter whether I'm the agent that anyone selects or anyone else, I would say it's so important for customers, buyers, and sellers to really understand where you want to be and understand that it is a collaborative partnership and to investigate and talk to folks. And also to really lean in. It's fun to watch like the Redfins and the Zillows and HGTV. It's fun to watch all of that stuff. But real estate is actually a serious business. Like this is your home, whether it's your primary home, whether it's even if it's an investment property or a second home, it's a big deal. And really making sure that when you're working with someone, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, well, I don't know what this means. And I never assume that my buyers and sellers understand everything. I'm here to be a resource. I over communicate, but I truly love what I do. I may be tired as all get out at the end of the day, but each day I put my head down and say, you know what can I do differently or better tomorrow? And I truly love what I'm doing. And I love being surrounded by people, whether they're in the real estate industry or whether any other business, especially other women in business. I love to sit down with folks and talk to folks about where are your challenges, where are your pain points. It's not always what's happy and rosy all the time. It's about what can we do to learn from each other. Whether it's technology or how do you lead generate, because we all have to do that for our businesses. What are we all doing collectively? I thrive on that, and I'm just excited to, have this opportunity to share and be with you ladies this morning, and just really understand how I can work with other folks to build my business and help lift other people up too.
And so, what is your ask?
My ask is to, if anyone is looking to buy or sell, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, it doesn't have to be in the next 3 weeks, it doesn't have to be in the next year, but to reach out to me. And if you have any questions, whether it's about the market or if you want to just get to know me as a person, reach out to me, email, text message, phone call, Instagram. Yep, Instagram.
Do you have a website?
I will have a website soon. I'm working with another amazing woman in business who is helping me with my web design. But no, I would love the opportunity to serve, and guide and partner with buyers and sellers to, for their next step, their next adventure.
So what we'll do is we'll put all her information in the comments once we post this. Her Instagram, her website will be coming up, and then your Facebook link. What else do you have? Are you on YouTube? Or
I
anything?
am. I'm not sure.
I'm not on YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, but you know.
No, I mean, here's the thing. It's just like
so much.
I mean,
BFF has YouTube, but my personal business is not on YouTube.
I mean, between YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm
on TikTok. You need to be on TikTok. TikTok's coming.
I feel like it is going to be. You'll never see me. I'll just be in the swirl of like TikTok.
Yeah, you do get caught up in it. But like when I make a post on my Instagram business, I just go and do the same thing in the TikTok. That 5 seconds. So it's not an extra.
All right.
few
Okay.
minutes.
All right. Okay.
So yes, we'll put that all on there. Give her a follow. Reach out to her if you have any questions. Thank you, Lesley.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Joyce. Thank you,
Love
Katie.
having you in St. John's BFF.
Yes.
You're an OG member, an OG preferred vendor.
Yes.
So
Let's do that.
amazing.
My daughter would have said cringe to me, but I think it's cool.
Well, I'm excited. I think that I'm glad to be part of this group, and I love how it's grown.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many people that I want to keep in touch with, and I feel like, oh my gosh, I can't
keep
keep
it all.
with everybody.
I put on the calendar like this person. I gotta reach out.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. So if I've touched anyone and we've connected and we haven't like made it happen yet, I promise it is on my to-do list. You are not forgotten. So I just want to say that.
Also, we
Great.
got new hats that